I, 34 male, had been dating my girlfriend Ashley, 31 female, for 5 years. We met back in 2018. I remember the day vividly. I was coming home from work as a traffic controller when I came up behind a car that was sitting at a green light. I of course was tired and irritated from work, so I honked my horn and yelled for the driver to move. The driver waved their hands out her window. I got out of my truck to see what was going on. The driver, Ashley, was in tears saying that her car ran out of gas and didn't know where the nearest gas station was located. Since I lived nearby, I knew the nearest gas station was nearly 2 miles away. I offered to help her, and she happily accepted. I pushed her car off to the side of the road to prevent any accidents. Since she didn't have a fuel canister, I drove her to the nearest gas station and filled the gas canister I had stored in my work truck. After putting gas in her car and helping her get to the gas station to finish fueling up her car, we exchanged phone numbers. After that day, Ashley and I started calling and texting each other. We connected and got along so well, which led us to eventually dating. My parents loved her, and her parents loved me. We loved the same anime music and even the same taste in cars. We rented a small apartment together and lived together ever since. Every Saturday night, we would change into our favorite PJs. We would watch some Bleach, My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, or One Piece. That was our anime night. I loved her so much that I was planning on proposing to her. Last year, my friend from high school, Tony, moved back to town after he divorced his wife. The first night he came back, we decided to crack open a few beers and reconnect after not seeing each other for 15 years. I told him to stay the night since he was too drunk to drive. A week after that night, Ashley seemed different and not like her usual self. Instead of having anime night, she would rather go out with her friends and have a girls' night or go help her parents or something along those lines. Intimacy became less passionate and seemed more like a chore for her. She even stopped saying "I love you" before I left for work in the morning. Tony even stopped talking to me, even though we were good friends. It seemed strange, but I didn't think too much of it. That is until last week. The job site had to be shut down early for the day due to heavy rain. When I got home, I saw Tony's car parked out front. I thought Tony was waiting for me to get home so we could hang out. I walk inside to find Tony on the couch, while Ashley is naked and riding him. At that moment, it was like my brain had shut off all emotions inside my head. I felt no anger, no sadness, no hatred, no heartbreak. Nothing. I was numb. I stood there for about 10 seconds before they noticed me. Ashley freaked out while Tony grabbed his shirt and ran off. Ashley kept crying and saying that was not what it seemed. That it was a mistake and that she's sorry. I simply packed my stuff and left the apartment. The only thing I said to Ashley was an emotionless goodbye before leaving. I called my dad and told him what happened. I also asked if I could stay with him for a bit, and he let me move into his house. As of now, it has been 5 days since that event, and I still feel nothing. No emotions, just numbness. Am I broken? Update number 1. I finally started to smile and laugh again. I've contacted my landlord and explained the situation. He told me not to worry, and that I would be getting 100% of my deposit and her deposit. Any damages to the apartment will be taken out of her portion of the deposit. I contacted Ashley's parents and told them about the situation. They were shocked and disgusted that their daughter could commit such a disgraceful act. They wanted me to forgive them for what their daughter did. I told them that they don't need forgiveness since they didn't break my heart. I blocked Ashley and Tony on my phone and all of my media accounts. My mom was sad to hear the events of what happened. My father was furious because he liked Tony a lot. I don't think I can repeat what he said due to the graphic nature of his words. I'm slowly getting my life back on track. I'm focusing more on my family and my job. My mother asked me if I would ever join the dating scene again. I didn't want to yell at her for asking such a question, so I simply told her that I'd think about it in a few months. Update 2. I am doing well with myself, although I did have an ugly cry session about 2 weeks ago. I think it was because the realization finally hit me that my ex-girlfriend broke my heart and my ex-best friend stabbed me in my back, but I am over that and have moved on. Last week I ran into Ashley's parents at the store. They again apologized profusely for what their daughter had done. I accepted their apology and again told them that it wasn't them who broke my heart. Her mother told me that they hadn't heard much from Ashley. The last time they saw her, Ashley had moved out of state with Tony. This is good for me, because the farther those two are away from me, the less likely I will ever see or deal with them ever again. My work performance has improved to where I got promoted to crew lead. I'm still living with my father because his social security income checks have been decreasing over time. So I decided to live with him to help pay for some of the bills and necessities. I have been thinking about rejoining the dating scene again. To be honest, I do have my father to keep me company, but I do miss the love and companionship that only a lover could give to fill that empty void in my life. Story number 2. Visual of seeing my girlfriend cheating. She does not know that I know about her cheating. She came to me a few days after she cheated and said that she wanted to split. Her intention to split backfired since we ended up chatting for quite a while, surprisingly with no yelling or screaming. We both ended up agreeing to the bizarre idea that we may actually be able to work things out. It has now been a few weeks since I caught her in the act. I now realize that working things out with her will be impossible since she still has not come clean about the cheating. She is a serial cheater, and once you have actually witnessed your girlfriend getting pile, driven by another guy in your own home, those images never leave your head. I know, bad judgment on my side. I shouldn't have started dating a serial cheater in the first place, and she will likely never ever stop cheating, but it is what it is now. So I've just gotta exit this hurricane of a relationship as cleanly as possible with the least amount of damage. I will be sitting her down around the first week of October and dropping the news that I know you've been boning other guys. I will be doing this only after I finish getting all my affairs in order. For example, removal of her name from the home, locking down my finances and other assets, and the usual stuff. I simply plan to confront her peacefully. To inform her that I know that she cheated and work with her on her departure in an amicable fashion from there. I am not looking for revenge. I just want for us to move on peacefully without either of us getting lawyers involved. We have been living by common law for over a decade. She has made it very clear that she wants absolutely no part of any of my assets, properties, or primary residence, since she accepts that I paid for everything from the start. I know, it sounds incredible that she doesn't want anything from me. She still does not know that I know about her cheating. We are currently amicable, and I am hoping that a quiet sit down with her will negate the need for lawyers and all that shit. If I split up with her without bringing up the cheating, it is very likely that she will try to gain the upper hand by claiming, "How dare you dump me? It was me who was first going to split from you." Therefore, I am bringing up the cheating to try and gain the upper hand before she does. I can't believe this high school cafeteria drama is happening to me in my 50s. We reside in Ontario. I'm in my early 50s, and she's in her late 40s. I have a lawyer on standby, but will only engage him as a last resort if absolutely essential. I am not giving up assets that I worked my ass off for just to confront her and her boy toy in a fit of rage. I'll be confronting her only after all my assets are secured and safe. No chick is ever worth losing your shit over. She is only on the title for half of the primary residence. So, the most she gets, in the worst case scenario, is half the equity on the sale of the residence. However, as of today, her world is now caving in and she is conceding. So it now looks like the most I will be out of pocket is $30,000 after all is done. Update number 1. These are the core tasks that I committed myself to after I caught her cheating 3 weeks ago. Save multiple copies of the proof, photos and videos in different geolocations. Keep my cool at all times so that I don't find myself in prison for the rest of my life. Secure a lawyer and get the legal ball rolling to protect my assets. Record every single conversation I have with her. Stay in shape mentally, physically, and emotionally. Plan my exit from the relationship down to the very last detail. I plan to leave the country for a few weeks and go unwind on a beach after this fiasco finishes. Reveal all my knowledge of her cheating and drop the separation bomb on her only after steps 1 through 6 are complete, and then watch from afar as her life falls apart. I am now in the final stages of step 6, and I utilize any anger that I have as a motivational tool to focus on my end game of exiting the relationship with minimal fallout on my end. She did notice about a week ago that I was suspicious of her recent behavior. However, since I am playing the dumb and oblivious boyfriend role, she is now confident that my suspicions have been put to rest following her flimsy explanation that she and the dude are just friends. The thing about catching a cheater is this, and I cannot emphasize this advice strongly enough. You do not need to get revenge, since ultimately a cheater's own behavior will be their own downfall. Essentially, after you drop a few small intentional hints that you are suspicious, most cheaters will, on their own, start to drive themselves definitively mad with the paranoia of getting caught, and then start to fall apart without you having to do a single damn thing. And when you do finally reveal what you know and cut them loose, their final tumble off the cliff will be their own doing. In my case, she is now starting to unravel right before my eyes, and it is a glorious thing to behold. Update number 2. Yesterday, I stumbled across a bombshell in this ongoing Jerry Springer saga of mine. She done got herself pregnant. And just like her recent cheating, she hid it from me. I found a positive pregnancy test stashed in a spot within her belongings, where she previously had nothing stashed just a few days prior. Therefore, I know that the test is current, given the timing of the pregnancy and the timing of her recent romps with the other dude. I am 99% sure that this pending bundle of joy is not mine. Since she and I have been trying for over a decade to conceive with zero success, my original plan of punting her cheating ass to the curb is still in play. It is now getting very close, just a few final remaining details to sort out on the legal front. However, as with everything else in this ever-evolving sordid saga, this recent development does complicate things. In spite of this, I have contemplated a few scenarios. Scenario number 1. Today, she claimed to have gotten her period. I did inspect the blood-stained pad that she left behind in the washroom trash can. However, the stain may also be due to implantation bleeding. Therefore, I cannot be 100% certain that the pregnancy has naturally terminated itself and that her period has in fact truly commenced. Scenario number 2. She's been drinking while knowing she was pregnant. Jesus, What kind of a person does this? Oh, I know, someone who wants to force the pregnancy to fail without getting an abortion. Devastating, just devastating behavior. Scenario number 3. If the pregnancy has in fact not ended, and the baby is found to be mine and comes to term, I will still separate from her. However, I will step up to the plate and be super dad. I will do whatever it takes to make sure that the kid has the best damn life possible within my means as a co-parent. Scenario number 4. If the pregnancy has in fact not ended, and the baby is found to be the other dude's handiwork and is brought to term, I will still separate from her, but I nonetheless silently hope that the child is okay wherever life takes them, as none of this is the kid's fault. In this case, there is also a chance that the courts may have me pay some form of increased support. Update number 3. This is over 2 months in the making. I have no idea how I managed to get this far without completely losing my shit, but it's now in the final inning. And yes, once her last box of junk is moved out, I will finally inform her, oh, so gracefully, that I knew all along that she was cheating, and send her on her merry way with a mug with a screenshot of the evidence, just in time for Christmas. Update number 4. There are some other subs on here that are big on reconciliation. They will try to convince you that reconciliation is a viable path forward, but it is not. And for 2 simple reasons. Reason number 1, the unknown. Cheating is that one transgression whereby you will never truly know when it has stopped. They may tell you that they've stopped, and you may even talk yourself into believing that they've stopped, but you will never truly know. A life of never really knowing is a horrible existence. Reason number 2, the odds. Over 50% of relationships fail at the 10+ year mark. And for the remaining relationships that do manage to last the past 10 years, the majority are miserable unions, and I'm not even factoring in cheating. Throw cheating into the mix, and the odds of actually having a truly healthy relationship are even grimmer. This does not mean that healthy relationships are non-existent. It just means that the odds are so staggeringly infinitesimal after infidelity that when combined with reason, 1, you are taking on an incredibly uncalculated risk. Now, I know what you may be saying to yourself right now. Everything in life comes with risk. Well, it's simple. There is a difference between recklessness and risk and not understanding or acknowledging the difference is what often leads to a life of relentless misery. Now, does all this mean that you should never ever again pursue love or relationships? Hell no. That would be an awfully shitty way to live. However, with the above 2 reasons now considered, you are more likely to have a better swim in the pool when there is fresh water in it, and not after you know that someone has just pissed in it. I hope you enjoyed both of these stories and learned something from these stories. If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel and help me achieve 1,000 subscriber milestone. After 38 years of marriage, 3 grown married children, and 5 precious grandchildren, she pulls this shit. I have worked my ass off to finally be debt-free and 2 years away from retirement. She tells me she is in Arizona for an educator conference she is required to attend. I dropped her lying ass off at the airport with plans to pick her up Thursday. A co-worker of mine is in Vegas for APBR event. He sends me a picture of her in a casino with our primary care physician. So, it's Christmas and all the kids are coming here. I have looked forward to hunting with my son and grandsons. I don't know if I should blow the thing to hell or play it cool until after Christmas. I guess I could gather more evidence if I just pick her up and act as if all is well. I am not sure I can do that, but the other choice is to devastate my children at a terrible time of the year. This bitch sang a solo in church Sunday before she caught a flight on Monday to spend the week fucking the doctor. I have never suspected her cheating in over 40 years of our relationship. I damn sure never have. I guess the life I was so secure in is over. I am glad my parents are not here to see this. I may just catch a flight tomorrow and find their ass. The hell of it is both my brothers are dead and there is nobody I can tell this shit to. Maybe the pastor hell. She is probably blowing him too. Update number 1. Thanks to everyone for your support over the last few days. I have received many messages asking for updates. I have also been given good advice, and it has given me the opportunity to vent at a time when I have to act as if all is well. I took some time off from work, and I am at my camp. My wife's sister picked her up at the airport Thursday evening. I hired a lawyer and a private investigator recommended by the lawyer. I have not confronted my wife, nor have I told anyone about the pictures from Vegas other than my lawyers and Reddit. My wife believes I am at the camp because a big buck I have hunted for a couple of seasons is back on my plot cameras. We have talked by phone and texted several times. Just ordinary conversation. She has no reason to suspect I have started an investigation into her trip or her life. Every communication has ended with "I love you" just as it always has. I have followed my lawyer's advice concerning our financial position. The private investigator has already informed me that he was able to confirm an affair has existed between her and the doctor for over a year. We will learn in time how long it has gone on. She did not attend a conference in Arizona. She spent every night she was gone in Vegas. I intend to confront her when the private investigator completes his investigation. We believe they will meet since I am out of town. I intend to give them ample opportunity to do so before I come home. I was not aware that most affairs occur in the demographic group of 55 to 70 years old. I thought we had a very good marriage. She seemed content with where we were in life, and I believed she loved me as I did her. I loved her completely. Everything seems so surreal. Each day has brought things to light I never would have imagined. I guess at this point I want to know how many years of my life have been a lie, and why the life we had was not enough. Why was I not enough? Why were our children and grandchildren not enough? She is a beautiful woman. I always thought it was inside and out. I am going to divorce her. There is no path to reconciliation. I am not sure how scorched earth I will go. I am very angry at both of them. I will confront the doctor and his wife together. I can't say today exactly what else I will do. I think I have to take it one step at a time, and the first step is to learn as much as I can before they have a chance to collaborate on their stories. He may just be the latest in line. Update number 2. I am going home tonight. My mother-in-law is 84 and has been widowed for 12 years. She will be devastated by my wife's cheating. My wife has 3 married sisters who are all in long-term marriages. They are coming to our house for Christmas tomorrow night. I have grilled steaks for them since my father-in-law died every Christmas. If I don't go home for this, it will raise red flags for her. I considered faking the flu and staying here, then I decided to just go home. If I don't go home, it will affect my plans to come back with my son and grandsons. I have not confronted her. We have talked some, but mainly have texted. I am positive she suspects nothing at this point. I gave the code for the gate and house to the private investigator. He took an IT guy and was able to access her desktop while she was at work. Somehow, he is receiving her texts now from iCloud. I don't really understand how he was able to accomplish this, but he did. I am not in contact with the private investigator or lawyer every day. I have no idea what all he has been able to find. I have an appointment to meet with him and my attorney next Friday morning, 1 week from tomorrow. It is hard enough for me to control my anger with what I know now. I believe I am spending unnecessarily at this point for the private investigator. But the attorney wants me to continue to gather evidence until I confront her. I plan to get what he has next week and hopefully be able to quit paying him. I always go to camp, the week before and after Christmas. She will suspect nothing if I can hold off slapping the shit out of her when I get home. I will leave again on Sunday. My son and grandsons are scheduled to hunt the week before Christmas, as we do every year. I have not seen her in almost 2 weeks. I never thought the love I had for her could turn into this much hatred and contempt. My plan is to gift wrap the evidence I get next Friday. After Christmas lunch, we will open gifts with our children and grandchildren. I am going to let her open hers last, tell her to show our children, take her phone, and leave. My next stop will be the doctor's house, where I will deliver the evidence to his wife and family. I will then file for divorce on the grounds of adultery. Update number 3. I came home from the camp last Thursday evening. She was home. I was exhausted from not being able to sleep, and our conversation was minimal. Friday night, we had our Christmas gathering with her mother and 3 sisters at our house. I was able to pull that off without her suspecting anything. Saturday was gone most of the day, and after church Sunday, I returned to my camp. My son and grandson met me and my oldest grandson there Sunday night. We hunted all week, and I have returned home tonight. We have no plans for tomorrow. Our children and grandchildren will attend church with us on Sunday and then come here for Christmas lunch and gifts. I have been able to control my emotions in a manner no one has suspected the life-changing situation I am in. I have reconsidered the method I am going to use to reveal her affair. I am not going to confront her on Christmas. I have an appointment with my attorney on Tuesday morning. I intend to get all the evidence he and the investigator have gathered, along with the divorce papers he has drawn up. I intend to have my son and 2 daughters come to our house for a family meeting and expose her affair to them, as well as confront her at the same time. I want to do this Tuesday night. I am not sure at this point how I will confront the doctor and his wife. My intentions are to destroy his reputation and career through any means available to me. Update number 4. We made it through Christmas with my children, grandchildren, and in-laws. Monday morning, I went and saw my pastor and told him the situation. He facilitated a meeting with me and affair partner's wife. We agreed to confront our spouses on Monday night, requiring them to write a detailed letter of the affair. I did and did not allow my wife to say anything to me. I told her I knew she was in Vegas and who she was with. I told her to write the letter of detail, and if there was any contradiction to the evidence I had, there would be no chance of reconciliation. On Tuesday morning, I met with my attorney and obtained evidence collected and received advice from my attorney. Tuesday afternoon, met with the affair partner's employer, demanding he be terminated. Tuesday night, my children came, and their mother told them what she had done. They are shocked and hurt. My wife went home with my daughter and remains there still. I am trying to decide my best course of action. I see no path to reconciliation. I will determine what other action to take with affair partner after I am sure of what I need to do with my own marriage. She confessed to everything and gave an answer for every specific detail I required in her letter. Thanks for your well wishes. I am doing fine considering where I am. Update number 5. I'm going to try to answer your questions. 1. Did you ask her why? Of course, I asked why. She said she didn't know why. She described to me and my children that she felt like an addict. She knew she was destroying her life, but would not stop. She told our children no child should ever have to be disappointed or embarrassed by their mother's immortality, that they didn't deserve the shame of a whore. I am not going to say all she has said to me, simply because I don't know if any of it is true. 2. How did she act? She is completely destroyed, remorseful, begging for forgiveness from me and the children. She does understand what she has done. 3. How did my children react? By one telling her, and the other two agreeing, it would have been easier to bury you than this. 4. Do I want to be married? Sure I do. That's why I didn't ever cheat on my wife. 5. Have I met the affair partner's wife and told her? Yes, we have met twice and communicated by phone and text several times. 6. Do I not care for his family by having him fired? I care more for the next patient's wife he hits a hard-on for. 7. Am I divorcing her? I don't know. 8. Have I sought therapy? Not at this time. What I need is for this to go away. If you know of anyone who can make that happen, by all means, I will do therapy. I can tell you that every situation is unique in its elements, personalities, and complexities. I could and would have dealt differently at a different time of my life than I am now. It is very easy to know just what to do when you are behind a keyboard. Some of you are keyboard experts, but are not very skilled in advice. Some of the comments you have made are without you knowing every nuance I am dealing with. Others have been a great source of strength. One Redditor has been a valuable source of wisdom, knowledge, and encouragement to me. He has helped me in more ways than I would even try to thank him for. It is very strange of my personality to have found such a kindred spirit with an anonymous soul. Oh yeah, why is she at my daughter's and not my in-laws? Her dad is dead. Her mom is 84. I don't want her mom to have to deal with this BS. She is at my baby daughter's and her husband's home. They have no children yet. The chance of her turning any of my children against me does not exist, but that is especially true of this little spitfire. She is 10 years younger than her sister and 12 years younger than her brother. She has spent more hours in a deer stand, bay boat, office, and truck with me than we could even begin to count. She won't even let her say the true things that are bad about me, much less lies. Update number 6. I had a brother who was 14 years younger than me. He was a college professor and lived 8 hours from our hometown. He died in a motorcycle accident in 2017. He left one daughter who is now 24, married, and lives in another state than her mother, but has brought her new baby home to see her mother and in-laws. My sister-in-law has never remarried. I called my sister-in-law last night to find out when my niece was going back home. She is actually staying this week with her husband's parents, who are about 40 minutes from my sister-in-law. My children are smothering me, so I am taking a road trip. I am going to meet my great-nephew, who is named after my brother and me. I asked her to reserve me a hotel room, to which she replied, "There is no way in hell that's happening. You will stay here, and we will watch movies and eat ice cream. I don't know when I am coming back." I have not spoken to, seen, or communicated with my wife since Tuesday night. I have blocked her number. I called my son and told him where I was going, and for him to go by the office and lease a rental property my company owns. It is a house renters moved out of and has been completely renovated with the intent to sell. I told him to inform his mother to come and get what she needed from our house and move in the rented house. She is to pay rent to my son, who will pay my company. I am having a new keypad installed on the gate and doors to my house on Wednesday, so if she needs her stuff, now is the time to fetch it. Update Number 7. When I called my sister-in-law, I told her I would be coming alone to see my niece and her new baby. She asked me why my wife was not coming, and I just said, there are some issues I will tell you when I get there. I got here around midnight, and she had just taken a hot pound cake out of the oven. It was the best thing I have eaten in weeks. I gave her all the details of my saga. I have teared up a few times, but as I went through all of it with her, I broke down and wept. She was very supportive and wept with me. She stroked my bursted ego, and I guess I felt better after we talked. I went upstairs to bed about 3:00 yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, she cooked me bacon and eggs for breakfast, and as I ate, she told me that I may make the rules and run the show back home, but not at her house. She then proceeded to tell me my schedule. At 1, I had haircut appointment. I needed a haircut when this all happened, and it was overdue, so I agreed. After the haircut, we were going to Dillard's and bought some clothes that fit me. I have lost over 30 pounds in 3 weeks. I was going to go with her to a friend's house that was having a bonfire and fireworks for a little while last night. I was going to go with her to church today, and she was going to go visit her parents this afternoon. She is cooking supper tonight, and her daughter and son-in-law are coming to eat and visit. Her son-in-law is taking me deer hunting tomorrow with dogs on an 8,000-acre timber company lease he is a part of. He is off all week, and if I want to, I can stay and hunt all week if I want to, and she will wash my clothes and feed me. I have never done it, so I don't know what to expect. We are not going to talk about my problems again until I leave to go home. So hell, I did what I was told to do. She went with me to her regular salon. On the way there, she said, I am going to use you to have some fun. When I introduce you, I am going to give them your first and middle name. I asked her what the hell, and she just laughed and said just play along. I am going to give these bitches something to talk about. My middle name is my mother's maiden name, and that's how she introduced me to her hairstylist. During my haircut, she asked me where I was from, and I told her Detroit. There is no way my accent would allow me to be from Detroit. My sister-in-law never missed a beat and said he's a logger. Next stop Dillard's. I have not been shopping for anything in years. I wound up buying 3 new pants, 4 shirts, 2 pairs of shoes, a tie, and a heart shuffer mark suit. According to her, it is the only suit my brother would wear. I did not know he was so peculiar about his clothes. I also bought a new belt. The suit had to be hemmed, and she convinced them to do it while we waited. On the way home, she told me I was going to be her date for the party and church. She told me to look at her like I looked at a new gun, so they would buy it. I went along with her, except at the party I was from Atlanta, and I sold road graders and had been married and divorced 4 times. At church this morning we got there late and left early because she doesn't want to be struck by lightning for lying in church. She sat right up under me and held my hand when we walked out. I have had a good time looking like Dumb and Dumber with my 46-year-old sister-in-law. She has cut up the whole time, and I have laughed, genuinely laughed. I have not done that for 3 weeks. I am going to hunt tomorrow and may stay until Wednesday, but I have to be at work Friday. I have talked to my son a couple of times. He thinks they need to try to get her some medical help. She evidently is not saying much, and stays in her bedroom at my daughter's house most of the time. Her phone is dead, and he and my other daughter communicate with her through my youngest. The affair partner's wife sent her a long text in which she called her everything but a child of God. I have not communicated with my wife. She asked where I was and told my daughter I would never be able to forgive her, and she didn't blame me for not forgiving. My son said she looked like death. I still see no path to reconciliation, however. I am not going to file for divorce until I am completely sure. Some have said divorce and reconcile if I change my mind. That seems like a waste of time, energy, and money. When I decide to divorce, it will be final. I also am not going to sue a fair partner if I don't divorce. If I do divorce, I will sue him to defray what the divorce settlement will be. Otherwise, I don't want his money. I have come to terms with the fact this is not going to end soon, and that my life will never be the same. I started keeping a journal today, and I have realized it helps the order of my thoughts by writing them down. I think this video is almost gone too long for my viewers' perspective. I have dug deeper and found updates that were deleted by the user or the mods. I can't include all these updates in this one video. If I do, this video will be 50 minutes longer than it is currently. I'll make a part 2 of this story, where the rest of the updates and the recovery of Op will be narrated. It has taken a little longer to uncover this story, as most of this was deleted and had to be recovered. I hope you liked it, and if you do, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting part 2 of this story as soon as possible. The clock struck 10 p.m., and my wife's phone started to ring incessantly. Her fingers frantically tapped the screen, trying to reach her ex-boyfriend. My suspicions were confirmed when I saw her outgoing calls on our shared app. A sense of panic consumed me. Why was she calling him at this hour? Without hesitation, I grabbed her laptop and scrolled through her messages, feeling guilty but also justified as we were married with children and her behavior was concerning. After the 4 missed calls, she had sent a desperate message. "I won't stop until you pick up and talk to me like a normal human being." The words hit me like a ton of bricks, stirring up a mix of anger and hurt. What was going on between them? Why did she feel the need to contact him in such an urgent manner? Questions swirled in my mind as I tried to make sense of the situation. Despite my agitation, I couldn't deny the sinking feeling in my gut that something was wrong. As I probed her about the call, she shifted uncomfortably in her seat and avoided my gaze. But when I pulled out the app and showed her the evidence of her outgoing calls, she couldn't hide the truth any longer. With a defeated sigh, she admitted that she did try to reach him. When I asked why, she hesitated, before revealing that she was attempting to call him back. But as I dug deeper and revealed that she had also written to him after calling, she insisted that she hadn't written anything to him. I then displayed the message that she had sent to him, and her face flushed with embarrassment as she confessed that he had called her while drunk and rambled on unintelligibly. In response, she had told him off and hung up, but later, feeling guilty for her harsh words, she tried calling him 4 more times, only to be met with silence. Desperate for closure, she resorted to writing what would now be an unanswered message. I am at a loss for words when it comes to this situation. It all started around the same time that she stopped being physically intimate with me. She seems unfazed by the situation, claiming that it's not strange or concerning for her to have kept it from me. To her, it holds no significance. But I can't ignore the fact that any communication with an ex is a red flag in my book. It's something I cannot tolerate or accept. The question lingers, is she being unfaithful? Our lack of intimacy for the past 6 months aligns with the time frame of these calls. Update number 1. I am grateful for all of your thoughtful opinions and perspectives. At first, I was in complete disbelief at the overwhelming consensus that my wife is indeed cheating on me. It felt like something out of a science fiction movie, something that could never happen to me. My wife would never do such a thing, or so I thought. But today, everything changed, and what was once just speculation became an undeniable fact. I feel foolish for being one of those people who trusted blindly, but I suppose this is a harsh reality of life. As promised, I had planned to confront her ex and speak with her family about the situation, but now I am reconsidering and taking a more cautious approach. Perhaps it is better to observe and strategize before making any moves. It seemed almost too good to be true how effortlessly I discovered the truth. All it took was a small, inconspicuous voice-activated recorder planted in our car, and 3 short days for it to capture all the damning evidence. She used the car for her daily routines, work, workouts, and meeting up with him. The details aren't entirely clear, but I heard every word that was exchanged between them over 2 separate phone calls. They spoke as if they held some forbidden secret between them, discussing intimate topics like sex and their personal lives. Their conversation flowed easily, filled with inside jokes and an undeniable attraction that reminded me of my own relationship with my wife when we first met 9 years ago. But now that spark has faded from my own marriage, leaving a void that this betrayal only highlights. And to make matters worse, they even talked about making plans for a vacation together. She wants to visit him this July. My mind reels at the thought of her planning a future with another man, giving him just 2 years to move back to our country and be with her. It's almost unbearable to believe, but I can't deny what I heard on those recordings. After listening to an hour-long recording of this disturbing conversation, I feel overwhelmed and in need of processing. I've already scheduled a meeting with my attorney next week to discuss this further, but before anything else, I just want to thank you. You opened my eyes to the truth and helped me uncover the deception that has been going on. If it wasn't for your advice, I would have never bought the voice recording device. Right now, I need to take some time to calm down and clear my head. My main concern is my children and how their mother's actions have affected them. It all started in September last year, but it took me 2 months to notice changes in her behavior. In the meantime, I will be taking care of my elderly father in another city for the whole week. This means that my wife will not be going to work and instead will be using my home office. She will most likely be making phone calls from there as well. Do you think I should place the recorder in the office for the next week? Or do you think I have enough evidence already? Update number 2. At this moment, I am presented with undeniable proof that our problems are not rooted in the reasons she presents to those around us. She claims that I am not enough, or that she carries all the weight of housework. It is a classic, pure act of infidelity. It began in September of last year, so I have been out of the picture for quite some time. Currently, she has no desire to spend any time with me in our rented apartment. She always has an excuse to run off and visit her parents, aunt, friends, etc. Sometimes, she will even retreat to bed when we put our young children to sleep. The recordings speak for themselves. She admits her love for this other man and expresses a desire to visit him and engage in sexual activities. They discuss his anatomy at length, and she even declares her intentions to leave me soon and become his wife. She goes as far as mentioning their favorite sexual position, proving that they have indeed been intimate. I am trapped in a precarious situation, one that only I seem to be aware of. My wife and I are facing marital troubles, but she is not disclosing the full extent of our issues to her family and friends. They believe it to be a temporary crisis, unaware of the looming threat of divorce. She comes from a devout Catholic family and attends church every Sunday, giving off the facade of a perfect marriage. However, we live in a small town with a population of only 20,000 people where everyone knows each other's business. Recently, we built a house together, but it remains unfinished, mirroring the state of our relationship. It is clear to me that my wife is suffering and can no longer stand living with me in our apartment. Her body language and avoidance of any meaningful conversation reveal her inner turmoil. She wants me out as soon as possible so that the affair partner can move into our home and join her in raising our 2 young boys. In a recorded conversation between them, she even mentions giving him 2 years to return to our country before making plans for their future together. She believes that society will understand her need for a father figure for her children and will not object. The affair partner, her very first love, had been with her for a solid 7 years before she married me. Despite being together for 9 years now, the affair partner lives abroad and only returns to our country on frequent visits. I refuse to be manipulated in this way. I have sought out the help of an attorney and will soon meet with him to discuss my options. With the evidence I have collected, I could easily tarnish her reputation by sharing bits of the recording with anyone who would listen. Please, any advice would be greatly appreciated. How do I handle being served papers from her? My attorney has informed me that my own preparations will take at least a month. It's still hard to believe that I am caught up in a situation with such a monstrous individual. Update number 3. After meeting with the attorney, I gained some valuable insights. It turned out that pursuing a scorched earth approach towards my ex-wife would not be wise. This is partly due to the fact that we have children together and will have to co-parent for the next 15 to 16 years. Another reason is my respect for her family. I do not want to involve them in our divorce proceedings as witnesses. Additionally, seeking custody of the kids would most likely not go in my favor because they are young and currently living with their mother in a small town 1 hour away from me in the capital city. Even if I were granted visitation rights, I would only get to see them every other weekend. Finally, I would not be able to sell our house without permission because it is their current home and they deserve good living conditions. The place we are currently living in belongs to her father and is only temporary. As unfortunate as it may sound, this is the reality of divorce in Poland. After our discussion, the attorney sent over the necessary paperwork, which was scheduled to be delivered right after Easter. I pretended everything was fine at the dinner table, thanks to the help of some alcohol. On my day off from work, I spent the day caring for my 1-year-old son, while my wife commuted to her job an hour away in the capital city. With the help of my brother, we moved all of our belongings out of our apartment and into his car. That same day, I received a delivery of divorce papers, an invitation to mediation, so we could dissolve our marriage and divide our assets amicably. The document stated that she was in a relationship with another man as the reason for our impending divorce. I had evidence to support my claims, which would be useful when negotiating child support and other matters. When she returned home, I confronted her and explained that I knew everything and had concrete proof. I also expressed how deeply hurt I was by her actions and asked her to contact my lawyer. Then, I handed her the divorce papers and left to visit her parents. She immediately began questioning me about what I knew and how I found out, but I stood firm in my decision. Her parents were shocked, but believed me, and I recorded their reactions as instructed by my lawyer. Before leaving for the capital city, I called a friend who helped spread the news to her acquaintances. I made sure to discuss with her parents whether they thought I was a good husband and father, securing their approval so she couldn't use them as witnesses against me in court. They understood the gravity of the situation and how it had impacted not only our lives but those of our children as well. Grateful for their understanding, I thanked them before heading to the capital city. After 2 hours, my brother-in-law gave me a call. He told me that my wife had confessed to having an affair with the affair partner but denied any physical intimacy. He also revealed that everyone was on my side and that she had torn apart our family. Her sister even visited her and confronted her about how wrong her actions were. However, my brother-in-law reassured me that everything could be fixed. After all, he too had cheated on his spouse, and they had managed to reconcile and are now happily married. Then, her father called and admitted that it was all her fault and that she was blind to the damage she caused. He promised to cut off financial support for her and even tried reaching out to the affair partner, who didn't answer. He ended the conversation by saying he believes our marriage can still be saved. Lastly, her other sister sent me a supportive text, but once again expressed belief in salvaging our relationship. I strongly disagree with the idea that our relationship can be salvaged. I fear that my spouse may use the fact that there is no sex tape as an excuse to stay with me, even though my reasons for leaving are valid. I have recordings of her saying things like, "Make sure you can last more than 3 seconds when I visit you in Holland. I wonder if your dad's penis looks like yours. I'll go ask that woman how long your brother's penis is and tell her how long yours is. I love you. I'm going to leave my husband. Please record yourself and send me a video. Your favorite position is doggy style with your back straight. Let me show you what our life together will look like. You have 2 years to move back here." This, along with her lack of emotions towards me for the past 7 months, and her admission that she never stopped loving him after being confronted about the affair, is enough evidence for me. However, now that her family has intervened, she is crawling back to me. She sends texts saying, "I didn't know what I was doing. I can't imagine living without you. I'm sorry for everything, and the kids and I are waiting for you to come back." She also claims that she never actually loved him as much as she loves me. It makes me doubt filing for divorce, because I do not have physical proof of their affair, and she denies having slept with him. It's possible since he lives in Holland, but he could have visited her here as well. Update number 4. After receiving the divorce papers, many of you predicted that she would try to win me back in front of our family and seek my help with our 2 little boys. And it happened. She started messaging me more frequently on Messenger, confessing her love for me and sending photos of our children with messages like "We miss you" and "Love you so much." However, it's been 5 weeks now and she still hasn't called me or visited me once. She had several opportunities to see me as she drove by my parents' house, where I currently live. The only communication we've had is through occasional messenger texts. We have met a couple of times to exchange the kids, but she didn't apologize or make any efforts to patch things up, just a simple greeting and goodbye. After my wife's infidelity, her family began to reach out to me more frequently. Her father called me twice, and her mother bombarded me with texts and Christian links about forgiveness. One sister apologized for my wife's actions and blamed it on an evil spirit possessing her. The other sister expressed disappointment in my wife and didn't expect me to return to her. Even my brother-in-law took me out for a beer to discuss what happened and what could happen in the future if I don't go back to my wife. But despite their efforts, I made up my mind and told my lawyer to proceed with the divorce. My terms were presented, and we're now waiting for a response from her lawyer. As I wait, her sister has shifted the blame onto me, accusing me of killing the marriage by choosing to divorce. She claims that my wife was selfish, but is now remorseful and crying, regretting her actions. According to her, I am now the selfish one for not forgiving and staying together for the sake of our children. She believes that my anger will only grow over time and urges me to just suck it up and continue living with my wife. In her eyes, this divorce is not only revenge on my wife, but also on our kids. I can't wrap my head around it. I was aware of the impending situation, that her family would turn against me and things would start to shift, but it's still a shock. For a moment today, I felt guilty for everything, for my wife treating me poorly for over 6 months, for her abandoning me emotionally and physically, and for wanting to leave me. They're really swaying me, but I won't change my mind. Now they're painting me as the villain who's abandoning his kids. I thought about countering their argument by proposing my own terms to get back together, things she will most likely reject. I don't love her anymore, but I'd do it for our children because I love them dearly. We wouldn't have a marriage, just a partnership with separate finances. She would have to leave her hometown and move with the kids to the capital city where I live. She would also have to agree to have a GPS tracker in her car until she stops driving in her old age, along with daily phone check. All of this would be after I get 7 months to date other women freely. And if I were to cheat during the relationship, I wouldn't hesitate to hide it from her. At that point, there would be no marriage anyway. What do you think? It's just an idea, nothing serious. I probably won't go through with it, but it's the only way I can think of to shut down her family's accusations of me abandoning our kids. In Poland, young children like ours must be near their mothers in case of divorce. Unfortunately, due to the fact that she lives an hour away from me and our kids attend school and daycare there, we can't share custody 50-50. Instead, I'll become an every other weekend dad with additional access whenever I want. It's heartbreaking and painful, but it is what it is. Update number 5. It has been 2 months since I confronted my wife and served her divorce papers. I left our small town and moved to the capital, where I am currently living with my parents. My bed is a couch in their living room, and my makeshift workspace and entertainment area is the dining table. Clothes are scattered on every available chair. During the day, I work from home for 8 hours before helping my elderly parents with household tasks. I also take care of grocery shopping and driving them to doctor appointments. To get away from negative thoughts about my failed marriage, I go to the gym or watch movies at the cinema. I am able to see my children every weekend. My wife drops them off and I bring them back to my place. Spending time with them brings me true happiness. To ensure that they are indeed mine, I did a paternity test, and there is no doubt in my mind that they are my biological sons. The situation with the divorce terms is complicated and uncertain. Since I am currently living with my parents and have 2 children, I don't have any other place to live. As a result, I am asking for a significant amount of money from my wife, in addition to her taking over the mortgage for our house. However, she has only offered 1/3 of the amount I requested, claiming it is the amount that I put into building the house. Yet, I am not at fault for our divorce and need financial support to find a new home. This disagreement is still being discussed through our attorneys. The reason she is offering such a small amount is because she wants to keep the house, but there are talks that she may be forced to sell it. This should have been done from the start because she will not be able to afford both the mortgage and me. We still need to come to an agreement on other financial matters, such as child support payments. She is requesting too much in this area as well. Additionally, she believes I should be responsible for picking up the kids from their small town and driving them back by the end of each weekend, which requires a lot of time and fuel. In reality, it should be her dropping them off and me picking them up. It's clear that she should take responsibility for these things, yet she continues to argue about the divorce terms. Last Sunday, her sister invited me to their daughter's communion. I attended so I could spend more time with my boys. Everyone in the family knows that my decision to divorce is final, so they didn't try to talk to me about it. Instead, I focused on taking care of my boys while everyone else enjoyed drinks and food at the table after the ceremony. During one conversation, my wife asked if my decision was truly final. I responded calmly that it was and nothing would change it. I wanted to spend as much time with our boys as possible. She then expressed remorse and regret for her actions. She claimed she ended the affair, went to a priest, and left it in God's hands. I told her that I didn't care about her priest, and that if anyone should confess, it should be to me. Her attempts at redemption were laughable to me. I gave her a chance to tell me the truth and asked how many times she had sex with the other man. She denied having any physical contact with him, but I brought up the party she had organized in November, where she rented a hotel instead of staying at a friend's place. This made her go numb, and she could only ask why I continued to torture myself with these questions. I explained that if she truly felt remorseful, she wouldn't continue lying months after we separated. I gave more examples of situations where she had lied about her actions with the other man, particularly over video chat. She couldn't even remember how many times they did it. My wife tried to imagine us getting back together, but realized there would be no trust between us, just constant suspicion on my part. Our son interrupted the conversation, and it came to an end. Before leaving, I reminded her that by cheating on me, she also cheated on our 2 wonderful sons. This statement destroyed her, and she yelled at me not to say such things in front of the kids again. It's ironic because her sister has told me about my wife's daily suffering and tears due to all of this. She puts on a facade in front of the family, but she continues to lie to me. She even had the audacity to say that if she wanted, she could be with her affair partner, and her family wouldn't be able to do anything about it, as if I should be grateful that she ended things with him, and now has the power to choose not to be with him. Thank you for the support you've given me. I'll stay strong and eventually clean up this mess. Unfortunately, I don't think it will end well for my sons, and they may need some help from a psychologist, but I'll always be there for them. Update number 6. After weeks of negotiation, our lawyers have reached an agreement and the divorce will soon be finalized. My ex-wife will keep the unfinished house, and the mortgage is now solely her responsibility. It's for the sake of our children, as I don't want anyone to say I forced the sale of the house out of revenge for her infidelity. Honestly, I have no desire to live in that small town, an hour away from where I am now in the capital city. But at least I'm getting back what I invested into the house, which isn't too bad, and the amount of child support is also reasonable. We've also agreed that she will drop off the kids at my place in the capital city every other weekend. As much as I love seeing my kids almost every weekend, it's still not enough for me. The pain of being apart from them is almost unbearable at times. I refuse to let my 1- and 3-year-old boys grow up without a father just because their mother couldn't control herself. Unfortunately, due to the laws in Poland, I can't have primary custody of them. Maybe I'll have to start driving there during the week just to see them more often and survive this heartache. Despite her constant messages of love and regret, she had still cheated on me and caused so much pain. She even offered to let me check her phone, move to the city and tell me every detail about the affair in hopes of winning me back. But something must have changed for her. Someone must have said something to make her feel remorseful. She's willing to do anything now, but it's hard for me to trust her words when she has already betrayed me. I can't deny that her words affect me and tempt me with the thought of our boys growing up in a bigger city. But the wound she caused heals slowly, and I know deep down that ending this relationship is the right thing to do. I will continue on this path, and one day I hope to find true happiness without her. Update number 7. As I reflect on the past 6 months since D-Day, my mind is constantly bombarded with the same questions every day. Do I still have feelings for her? Could I possibly go back to her, just for the sake of our children? Is it worth going back to her small town and finishing the house we started? But most importantly, can I live with myself in 5 to 10 years, knowing what she did? The resounding answer to all of these questions is a definite no, without any hesitation. As much as I love my children and long to see them every day, I cannot force myself to love her again. She may want me back, but I know that I cannot return to our old life. Despite my desires, I cannot forget about everything that has happened. I gave her a chance to start over in my city with our children, but she refused. She said she had her family's support in the small town and didn't want to sell our house because she wanted our kids to have something for their future. I tried to explain that it's not about the physical building, but about our family, her, me, and our children, but she remained silent. That's when I realized there was no longer an us. We could only come to a mutual agreement. There was no room for compromise. I made it clear that I couldn't continue living in the small town where the affair began. And I definitely couldn't bear the thought of living just 1 mile away from her affair partner's family home. He may live abroad, but he still visits his family 2 to 3 times a year. After that, the conversation ended. I hate the small town, and she refuses to move to the capital. That's the end of it. As an example of her approach to situations, we agreed that I would take the money I invested in the house while she would keep the building for our children. However, she now has a problem with this arrangement because of one clause in our agreement that forbids her from selling the house until our children reach adulthood in Poland. If she was to sell before then, she would have to split the profits equally between us. She argues that this is unfair since she plans to use her own funds to finish the renovations, and if she were to sell later on, I would receive half of a much more expensive finished property. But when I asked why selling was even a consideration, she said she couldn't predict what her life would be like. This lack of trust makes me lean towards just selling the building altogether. However, it's difficult for me to come to terms with letting go of a home meant for my children's future. Final update. After talking with her, I laid out my 2 conditions for our marriage to work: moving to the capital city and severing all ties with a fair partner and his family. She understood the second condition, but was resistant to the first, citing the high cost of rent and the convenience of having friends and family nearby for help with the kids. I can see her point, as our children seem happy in their current environment and we pay very little for childcare since it's owned by her sister. However, I remain firm in my decision not to live in the small town. We have reached a compromise where I will continue to visit often and take the children to Warsaw every other weekend. She assures me she will not seek out another partner and will wait for me, but ultimately, it doesn't matter to me. The most important thing is that our children have me as their father figure and not some stranger. It's a difficult situation, but I stand my ground on this matter. During our conversation, she made it clear that she feels no remorse for her actions. When I asked why she had only sent me texts and never called during our separation, she claimed she was too busy with her 2 children. She declared that she would never mention the affair again and refused to share any more details when I inquired about them. She blamed me for telling her family some information she didn't want them to know and said she wouldn't share anything else with me. According to her, the other person involved had been writing to her for years, but she always rejected him. However, last year, because of my passive behavior, she decided to start the affair with him. Her justification made me sick, and when I expressed my disgust, she dismissed my feelings and accused me of only caring about myself. Today, I received a message from her stating, "I need an answer to my question. I don't want to ask it in person, because we always end up yelling at each other. You've already expressed your thoughts on who I am and what I've done, but I don't want to keep talking about it. So, tell me, do you want to forgive me and start fresh, or is it clear that you will never be able to forgive me and will never come back to our relationship? Please take some time to think about it, and let me know if you still want our marriage or not." What does this mean? In my opinion, she doesn't have the right now to demand such specific answers from me. Perhaps there is someone else involved, and she needs to clarify things with me before moving on. I replied that I am worth more than just a conversation through messaging, and that we should talk in person soon. This is where this story comes to an end. The official poster hasn't added any more updates to this story in his profile. However, there is one post where he seeks dating advice as a single father of 2 children. So, it seems after all, he didn't settle for that marriage and moved on with the divorce. If you have reached this far, please take a moment to press the like button and subscribe to my channel. It takes a lot of effort and editing to compile these stories in their true form. For each update, I have to dig deeper to find the closure. Moreover, I aim to keep these stories as real as possible to maintain the true essence. So, if you like my content and are not yet subscribed, please do. It matters a lot to me.